Yup, that's me. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, I am Makayla. If you are not new, welcome back. Today's video is something that I am very passionate about. As you can tell by the title, we are going to be discussing all of the times that my intuition has proven correct. All of the times basically that I've been psychic. And I know that sounds crazy and skeptical, but I've written down every single time that my intuition has been strong, just in case. I've written down every single dream I've ever had. And today I'm just going to share with you all of the entries in my journals from dreams and moments of intuition that actually occurred afterwards. Some of these are super creepy. You will be shook. Before we get started with today's video, don't forget to give this a thumbs up because it does help. Comment down below if you've ever had one of these moments, and subscribe. We really are like one big family with lots of love to go around. It's never too late to join. All you have to do is hit subscribe. Also, don't forget to click the bell because this notifies you every time I upload a new video, and I always shout out the first comment on my social media, so be sure to be following me on Instagram and Snapchat as well. With all that being said though, I have a huge pile of journals right off camera, as well as my laptop, which has additional notes. Every single time I felt deja vu or intuition or just had a feeling, I would write it down. Since I have so many examples of every single time that my intuition has been a vision and I've been psychic, I think I'm going to split this video into two parts. So this will be part one, but subscribe so you don't miss part two, and make sure you have that notification bell on so you see it when I upload it. Part one, I'll just say all the examples of the times where I thought of something happening and it happened. And then in part two, I'll upload a video about all of the dreams that I had that actually happened later on, like a That's So Raven vision. A little background though, I did want to discuss real quick my spirituality before we get started, because for as long as I can remember, I have always had psychic moments, but it wasn't until my college years where I really delved deeper into what that meant. And it wasn't until I was older when I realized that not everyone could do that. You know, as a kid, you just consider yourself to be normal. You think what you do, everyone else does. When I learned no other kids could move objects with their minds like me and Matilda, it kind of creeped me out. Just kidding. I wish I could move objects with my mind. But I did resonate with the movie Matilda for a lot of reasons, and maybe this is one of them. I've definitely had dreams since I was very young that actually happened, but I don't think I really honed in and listened to my thoughts and my intuition until I was a little bit older. There were some really creepy moments in high school where I would think of something that I wanted to happen, whether that be good or bad, and then it would happen. And I never really knew if I was getting a vision before it occurred or if I caused it to happen. I actually have a ton of journal entries about that too, because something that I thought of happening was very dark, and when it actually happened I was completely freaked out, like, did I make this happen or did I just simply know that it was going to happen? But yeah, I hope that you just listen with an open mind, because crazy things have happened. But like I was getting at before, it wasn't until my college years where I really honed in on this talent or ability that I had and realized, okay, this is a little abnormal. Not everyone might be able to do this, or not everyone just practices using their third eye as much as I have growing up. So I did a lot of reading in college and educating myself, looking online, watching YouTube videos, buying a ton of books on different subjects like intuition and mind reading. And I learned after my first trip out to California that I very easily picked up the ability to cleanse chakras and to do readings on people. I started with myself, and then I quickly started with my friends. They've been accurate. It's been super wild, but to me it came almost like second nature, as if I've done it before in a past life. And that's another video I should film after this, the past lives that I remember, because although I don't remember them as detailed as I did when I was younger, I specifically remembered one of my past lives. I would love to go to someone that specializes in your past lives to see if it was accurate. That's a whole nother topic that I would love to talk about. Comment down below if you want to see that video, and subscribe so you don't miss it. I think 2015 was the pinnacle year of really practicing readings and opening my third eye and meditating and getting this moon tattoo and powering all my crystals that I have and getting into that and really understanding this other world out there that made so much sense to me. Like, I had never related to something more. I finally felt like I was home. You know, I feel like growing up, that's what religion was supposed to feel like when my parents brought me to church and stuff, but I never really clicked with it. I click with this. I click with spirituality. It makes sense because you believe in the universe and the stars, and those things actually exist. They're proven. It takes years for us to see light that travels in space, so who's to say that everything is linear? And you know, they say some black holes go back in time. It's been 10 minutes and I've already like segued into so many other deeper conversations, but this video is about all of the moments that I've been psychic, starting with part one, all the times my gut feeling or intuition, just random thoughts. Have you ever just had like a super random thought come into your head that you were not thinking of before and have it happen? Well, let's get started. According to my moon sign, which is an Aquarius, it's actually not uncommon for moon Aquariuses to be psychics. We are incredibly insightful and in touch with our third eye. And many of us are spiritual, practicing our own readings even, and passing on our own gift. Like I said, I myself have dabbled in cleansing chakras and readings, both on myself and my friends. In fact, there have been so many eerie coincidences where my thoughts and dreams have come true that these last 5 years, I've really explored myself spiritually to better understand and better open up my gift. Although I was 8 years old the first time I remember having a psychic dream, the first time that I remember having an intuition, like psychic moment, was when I was 12 years old. The first time that I remember having that moment in my head where like something is about to happen and I know what it is, I was 12 years old and I was at the movie theater with my dad and my younger brother. It was April 6th and we were seeing National Treasure in the movie theaters. And you know when you're watching a film and you get super into it where like you have no idea how much time has gone by, like you're just in the movie? That's how I was. And then suddenly, for no reason at all, something like pulled me out of it and I had a really hard time focusing on the film. Something like clicked in my head and it told me that something was wrong. Something was going on in that moment and it's so like, I don't know how to explain it, but I just was pulled out of the movie for some reason mentally. I couldn't focus and I knew something was happening, but I couldn't place my finger on it. In fact, I wanted to ask my dad like to check his phone to see what time it was, because at this point in my life, I knew that when this happened, I wanted to check the time because certain things would like happen at the same time that I was thinking about it, but I wouldn't realize it until later. And then I could think back and be like, oh my God, at 12:30, I totally knew that that was happening, but no one told me until 2 type of thing. I guess I had already had a feeling that I could do this, but I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know that it wasn't normal. I just thought it was like a cool coincidence thing that I could do. But since we were in a movie theater, I didn't want to talk and I didn't want to disrupt my dad from paying attention to the film just to ask him. I thought, you know, I'm sure it's nothing. And I just finished the movie. Something still felt off. Like I had a lot of anxiety for no reason and I was 12. So it was very weird for me to have this. And I remember we got out of the movie theater and my dad turned back on his phone. He might have even had his phone off because he had like a flip phone. This was like back in the old days, kids. But he turned back on his phone and there were so many missed calls from my mom. Turns out that while we were in the movie, my sister stopped breathing, turned blue, and they were currently at the hospital trying to figure out what was wrong. That is a whole other story in itself. If you watched my last video that I just uploaded about the real life paranormal experiences that I went through growing up, you know that my sister still has intense medical issues because a nurse was part of the paranormal. Yeah, watch that video for more details. But basically that was the day that my entire life changed. Even now, I firmly believe that at the exact moment that everything changed, I knew, and that's why I couldn't focus on the film and I wanted to tell my dad, I feel like something's wrong, let me check your phone, but I didn't. And now I always do because I'm convinced that that's what happened. Even though there's no way for me to really prove that story, believe me, please, because I will never forget it. Yeah, that was the first time I really remember feeling something, even if it was just something bad is happening, and then it happened. This next one's pretty scary, but fast forward to when I was 17 years old, a junior in high school. I mentioned this also a lot in many videos, but this was the year where I was hospitalized and I went through a ton of dark-ish. It was a Monday morning. I had just been discharged from the hospital, and as I mentioned in my bipolar video, which I will also link above and down below, one of the agreements that my team came to is that I had to do a few weeks of outpatient program. It was kind of like school where now I got to sleep at home, but during the day my mom had to take me to the hospital from like 8 to 3 or something like that. So it was our first morning of outpatient treatment. We were on our way to the hospital. We were running late. My mom was in a bad mood. We got into some sort of fight on the way there. I was angry, I was mad, and I just felt like I had a bunch of dark energy. The angsty teen that I was, I put my feet up on the dash, crossed my arms, and I was just silent. I didn't talk to her the whole ride there. All I remember thinking, keep in mind, I was in the adolescent psych ward. I was dealing with dark thoughts, and I would never think about this now, but I was so mad at my mom, and I was so mad at where I was in life, and I had so much going on, and I was an angsty 17-year-old teen. I just remember thinking as we were driving like 60 on the highway that I wanted to get into a car crash, and just thinking like, this sucks, life sucks, I'll show you, so what, just like crash, I bet this is the morning. And I just kept imagining all these fantasies of us crashing. All I can remember thinking is that I wanted to get into a car crash, like F you type of thing, I'll just jump off a bridge type of mood. We exited the freeway, we were at a red light, we were the first car there. Our light turned green, my mom started to go, and this white truck, white van, did not stop. and I screamed and we crashed. Everyone was fine. It was a T-bone. It was about 30 miles an hour when he hit us. All of the windows of my mother's car shattered. Luckily though, it was a pretty cold morning, so all the kids had blankets on them. All the glass from the windows landed on the blankets, and we were able just to pull the blankets off of them, and no one was cut. It was almost a miracle that we were all okay, and I still don't know if that would have happened if I wasn't thinking about it the whole ride there. I don't know if I thought about it because it was going to happen, it was just my intuition telling me, or if I actually caused it to happen. It's one of those many examples of my life where I'm like, holy crap, did I make this happen, or did I just simply know it was going to happen? And if you can help me answer that, please help me out down below, because it's something I grapple with a ton. Since that happened my junior year, I've been writing down every single moment that I had been psychic, where I thought about something and it happened. And these are the journals. So I'm going to share with you in chronological order what those were. Not all of them are as big as when my sister got super sick, or when I predicted or just knew we were going to get into a car crash, but they're all creepy in their own way. So February 26th, 2015, I titled it 3 times in one day, and I just have 3 quotes. Like I said, they're not all really big examples, but even the small examples like this remind me that, like, all these examples were when I randomly texted people that day where we didn't have like a previous conversation going on our messages, but I had something to tell them, if that makes sense. So the first one is from Layla. I love you and I miss you. She responded with, "You have no idea how crazy it is you texted me when you did." Another friend responded this day saying, "Stop, this is so weird. I was thinking about you yesterday and was going to text you." And the third friend responded, "I was actually just about to text you about this weekend." So those were the quotes, and then I just wrote underneath, "The universe has something planned, something to say. These are not just coincidences, they're signs. I think I'm doing the right thing in the right place. I'm where I'm supposed to be today." Usually when these small examples would happen, I felt like it was a clue or like a hint that like I was on the right track in life. They were signs from the universe that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, and maybe that's what it really is. And I really believe that if you've ever had that moment where you thought about someone and then they texted you, or you wondered when someone was going to call and then you heard the phone ring and you knew it was them, I think everyone has the ability to be psychic. We all have a third eye. It's just like any other muscle. You have to use it, otherwise it's going to get weak. And if you open yourself up and practice, channel it and meditate, or like some way just open up your psychic abilities, I think we all have it there. Anna Campbell created a video years ago, I don't know if it's still online, but she talks about a certain muscle in our brain that reacts to fluoride, and it's right where your third eye is. Apparently if you ingest a lot of fluoride from toothpaste or water, it can damage its ability. I don't know, I'm probably saying it in a really off way, but I'll link that video if it's still up online so you can check it out, because I think she's onto something. Everyone has the ability to be psychic. I just don't think we use it as much anymore, because like all things with evolution, we might not feel like we need to anymore. And that's why some people that use it are really successful psychics. Maybe that could be me someday. A few months later, October 2nd, 2015, I just have a page with all of the times I felt I was psychic. They kind of would come in waves where I'd go through like a few days at a time where I'd be like, whoa, 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 like so much would be happening. And I just said like getting in touch with my senses / intuitive intuition. So I just have a list of all these like small moments. Some of these happened all within the same day of when I felt like I was psychic. Okay, Alley Cat / porcelain doll on Tumblr. Oh my god, I forgot about this. One of my favorite Tumblrs in high school. She was so active, and then suddenly for weeks she like disappeared and nobody knew why. And I sent her a message because I told her that something came to me and I knew that she was in the hospital, and I knew it was for the exact same thing that I was in the hospital for. Don't ask me how or why. And I knew it was like the craziest shot where I was like, I don't know why or how I know this, but I feel like you're going through what I did. And I talked about it and I just kind of said, I'm here for you. And she posted it. It was like the craziest thing. She confirmed that I was correct. She said, I had no idea how you knew that, but yes, thank you so much. Oh, I wish I could deep dive into Tumblr and like try to find that, because that was a crazy moment. But that also happened with Jessie Smiles on YouTube. If you find a comment, I don't know if it's still there, but before she announced that she was engaged and pregnant, and she like made a video and something was off and she wasn't getting drunk in videos anymore, and I commented and I was like, I have this weird feeling that she's secretly engaged and pregnant, and that's why things have been different. And then like a week later she announced it. I have referencing Emma Roberts to my friend Katie the day that she was actually at her college without me knowing. I sent her a text and somehow mentioned Emma Roberts because I think we were both watching Scream Queens or something, and Katie was like, OMG, she's giving a speech at my college today, that's so crazy. Asking Em when she's supposed to get her period, and she responded, today actually. had, like, even though that might seem small, I consider that a moment. I just found another example, so sorry if this video is kind of scattered, but I missed this when I was originally going through this journal. But I have another list of moments where I felt psychic. This is from February 9th, 2016. With the start of a sliver of a hangnail, crescent moon, it's happening. I am sensing beyond the real and the now again. This feeling comes in tidal waves, and today and yesterday was a storm. If only I had power to control or channel the vibrations I am picking up, but how? Just now, I connect my trip to the crystal store on Saturday to my sixth psychic sense Monday and Tuesday. Could that, in combination with the new moon, be enough to do it? I'm not crazy. I just don't know how to prove this all yet, but I will. Someday. All I know is that sometimes something enters my mind randomly that I wonder about, and then that very thing happens. I'm not in control, I just see it. And then I listed in 2 bullet notes what I saw. Emily and I sarcastically having a conversation about being single and boys. I realized I never told her about, I'm gonna say JM because I don't want to say his real name, JM, asking me out on Facebook, giving his number, etc. So I fill her in, and when she asks if I will ever respond, I confidently say no and explain why. Perhaps not even an hour later, out of the blue, weeks and weeks later, Jay messages me asking to go out this weekend. I freak out, text Emily, because out of all the times this could happen, it does the one moment I happen to be thinking about him. Next example. This morning at work, I'm mentally complaining about nannying, but telling myself how nice it is many nights when the mom will come home early or when I don't have to come in at all. I end with wondering when the next early or canceled night will be, and only a few hours later, I receive a text informing me that the kid has a doctor's appointment and she'll be home by 6 and I won't be needed. These cannot be coincidences. 2 times within 24 hours, I'm thinking of something so shortly before it happens. And this is not the first time this happens. In fact, the last time was the Monday after December's full moon the previous weekend. A vision in my dreams I know to be true. Now, shortly after February's new moon, the visions are returning once more. I just wish I knew they were visions before coming true and not just thought. It's so hard to know. I wish I knew better, but I do know something is happening. I am psychic. The sun is setting. I apologize for this lighting, but you know what? It's dramatic, kind of fits the vibe. I'm not gonna move the blinds. Moving on to this journal, I have another updated page with more space that says more moments of psychic intuition, and I created this list March 2017. I have thinking of how long it's been since Susie has asked me to babysit, just hours before she texted me asking. So like months had gone by and I just had that thought where I was like, I wonder when Susie's gonna ask me to babysit again, and then literally that day she asked me to babysit. Like those moments happen to me so often. Reading the tweet about song lyrics only to walk into my car and have the song be playing. I feel like everyone's experienced something like this in their lives where they'd have a song stuck in their head and then it would be playing like when they got to their car. I consider this a psychic moment. Thinking about how I used to get that I look like Vanessa Hudgens a lot lately, but no one said that in years until today. So yeah, I think I mentioned this in my last Ask Me Anything video. I'll link that above or down below. But growing up, like when I was a preteen, I looked very, very similar to Stella Hudgens, and everyone said I looked like Vanessa Hudgens, or they asked if I was her sister or related to her somehow. I remember at 6th grade camp, I convinced this boy that I was like her sister or something. It was actually super fun. Once I started getting older, I no longer resembled them as much. I was at Starbucks this day and the guy asked for my name and I told him my name, and he said that he was expecting me to say Stella or something because I looked just like Stella Hudgens, and I hadn't gotten that in like years. Wanting to go home, feeling like I should go home, wanting to go out on the balcony for air the night that my car was broken into. Yes. Okay, so I have a video where I explain my car getting broken into. I'll link that above as well as down below. I think that was on my vlog channel. I was at my ex-boyfriend's place at the time and we had a huge fight that night. I did not want to sleep over, but it was so late I didn't want to get out of bed, so I just kept trying to go to sleep, and in my head I felt like I should go home. I even considered going out on his balcony because he had a balcony in his bedroom just for some fresh air, to cry, to breathe, and I didn't. And the next morning when I left, my car door was like partially open, and that was the night that someone stole my backpack and all my school things and stuff. I've always wondered, like, if I listened to my intuition and I went home, or if I just went out on the balcony, if I could have stopped it. So now it's another reason why I like always try to listen to my intuition, even if nothing happens after I listen to it. You never know like what could have happened if you didn't listen to it. The last example I have here is thinking about how long it's been since I've been to the dentist and whether or not I should schedule one, only to get a text out of nowhere hours later. I feel like my intuition is strongest with text messages. Like when to expect a random message from someone or when to reach out to someone when it's been a long time. Moving on to a more recent journal, I think I have a few more pages like that where I just list all the times I felt psychic recently. This list I wrote just earlier this year in January of 2019, and I just have it titled Psychic Moments Yet Again. I have so many lists of these because they'll just come in huge waves of like when I'll feel super psychic that day. This time beginning on Halloween. Whoa, today's Halloween. That's weird. Number 1, thinking of the fire the house on the corner suffered as we walked by, and Aiden saying out loud they had a fire even though he wasn't even born then. Okay, so my family and I went on a walk, and there's a house at the end of the street that I grew up on where on 4th of July, like 15 years ago, their shed caught on fire and it burned down part of their house and they had to like completely remodel it. I was young, my brother Aiden was not born yet, and we were walking by this house, and all he said as I was thinking about this fire and what it used to look like, he said out loud, they had a fire there. I was scared. He wasn't born yet. How did he know? We never talked about that. In present time, the family that lives there now has a kid my brother's age and they play, and my mom told me that they had like a bonfire there the other night, so it made sense as to why my brother said that. But I still think it's super weird that I was thinking about this fire that burned down that house right as my younger brother said they had a fire there. Even if he was inferring to like other things, it still freaked me out. My sister's special ed teacher talking about body parts, and I pictured an elbow, to which she in the other room used an elbow as an example, then said, I don't know what made me think of an elbow, but it was me, it was my mind. My sister has special needs, as I've said so many times. She gets special teachers like brought to her, and she gets school at home, and so that day I was at home babysitting my brother Aiden, and my sister was learning about body parts, and the teacher was saying something about how they're just going to use different body parts as an example, and in my head in the other room, the body part that came to mind was an elbow, and then she used an elbow as an example, and it was like, whoa, that's weird, I was just thinking about that. But the fact that the teacher said out loud afterwards, I don't know what made me think of an elbow, it was me. That's what freaked me out, because I was thinking about it and then telepathically, yeah, I don't know, I had a weird moment. Number 3, laying on the couch thinking that my ex-boyfriend was hopefully reading my message and responding to it, only to feel my phone buzz, and lo and behold, he replied. As I've said, I think this is one of the most common like psychic moments that I think we all have experienced at one point in our lives, where you're thinking about someone and then buzz, they text you. Number 4, waking up knowing I had picked up a shift in my sleep and checked my phone to see I grabbed Suzanne's shift tonight. So I just had a feeling like when I woke up at like 4 a.m. in the middle of the night that like I picked up someone's shift, and then I checked my phone and I got the email confirmation that I had, because I had auto pickup on, so when someone releases their shift I would automatically pick it up, and I just like had a feeling that she released it, and she did. I wrote as a summary, a lot of these moments have in common the sense of knowing before either something happens or before I am aware that it did happen, which I guess is what psychic could mean, but my ability has been really strong today. It's almost like I opened something. It all feels very clear. Not to mention, I said at the beginning of this example that it was Halloween, so maybe that's why everything was so clear and open that day, because it was All Hallows Eve, the one day a year where spirits can come back from the dead. Supposedly. Those are all of the moments that I'm going to share in this video of the times where I have felt psychic. Definitely stay tuned and subscribed and turn on the bell, because my next video, which I'm just going to film right now and keep talking, is going to be part 2 of all of the dreams that I had that actually came true afterwards, or had already come true and I did not know it until afterwards. I feel like the dreams are pretty freaky and scary, spot on. They're also easier for me to like prove because I write down my dreams and I date them, and then, you know, later on they come true. Let me know down below if you've ever had a moment similar to this. Also, this necklace, I feel like this was one of the first moments where something like witchy, oh, I don't even know how to explain it, but I have a super old video on my vlog channel. I think it's the most watched video on that channel, called I'm a Witch. It's basically about the time that a miracle happened on this. I'm gonna link that video above as well as down below if you want to see me talk about more examples of when weird, unexplainable things had happened to me. That video also has a ton of supporting comments down below of other people and their experiences, or just like the vibes that they can pick up through the lens. But that is it for part 1. I'll see you guys really soon with part 2. Bye!